In February 1832, Clay announced his strategic vision called the American System. His plan was to foster national growth through protective tariffs, the Bank of the United States, and internal improvements.
The American System was brought up by the Whig Party and a number of politicians, including Henry Clay. Their main plan and their main goal was to basically just strengthen and unify their nation, and they also wanted the system to be a new form of federalism.
Henry Clay was a former U.S. Senator. He grew up a really rich man, and when he entered politics, he entered to Washington, D.C. He started getting to heated conversations with Andrew Jackson about the bank veto and the American system. And that's pretty much how the bank wars started.
Clay argued that the South, which didn't support the tariffs at the time, should support them because of the market for cotton in the northern mills. But the South was never really on board with the American system since they had plenty of access to markets for their cotton exports.
Clay tried to work against Jackson in ways that Jackson could not control. He worked with the banks, he worked with the Senate, and he really tried to jeopardize Jackson's election.
Jackson believed the system was unconstitutional. On July 10, 1832, Andrew Jackson wrote to the Senate declaring his objections towards the bill to recharter the Bank of the United States.
I sincerely regret that in the act before me, I can perceive none of these modifications of the bank's charter which are necessary, in my opinion. Every monopoly and all exclusive privileges are granted at the expense of the public, which ought to receive a fair equivalent.
Andrew Jackson hated banks. He was like, it creates hierarchy and it's inequality. And during the whole market revolution, Jackson thought it was just giving too much power to the banks and not enough to the little stores and companies.
Jackson was concerned that banks were the center of economic change, creating inequality in America.
Both Clay and Jackson had insanely different views on the national bank and American system, which made them debate, like Jefferson and Hamilton.
Clay decided to rise the issue during the election of 1832 and use the bank veto in his own campaign, with hopes to risk Jackson's re-election.
Jackson ended up appealing to the people, explaining his reasons for opposing the government monopolies. Jackson ended up succeeding, and by spring of 1834, the bank was dead.
Henry Clay was more influential to America.
Clay was really jealous of Jackson just because Jackson had great hair and Clay, I think he was balding already.
America was inspired by this amazing person, and he will forever impact our nations because of everything that he's been able to do, and we're able to look up to him for all these things that he's done, including those things, you know?
Jackson emptying out the American banks into state banks. He took all the money and he moved it into the states, which made the American people happier.
I am Ophelia Cox, and this is